Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Did you guys like Raw 30? Did you like the 30th anniversary of Monday Night Raw? Well, I liked some of it. Didn't like all of it. It went from a celebration of Monday Night Raw to a generic episode of Monday Night Raw. It's just my opinion. You know, Triple H, he approached it with he approached it with a chub, you know, an absolute chub. He didn't go all the way. Let's put it like that. I did love the celebratory packages that they put together for Monday Night Raw. That was phenomenal. The production team did their job. It was tremendous. Really enjoyed that. The opening of the show was Hulk Hogan. He didn't have much to say other than Raw was built while Hulkamania was running wild, which of course is not true. Hulk Hogan was not the champion, and he was barely on Raw during the early years of Monday Night Raw. I don't think there was any big Hulk Hogan moments on Monday Night Raw the entire time he was there until he left in 1995 to join, or 1994 to join WCW. I don't think Hulk Hogan had any huge Monday Night Raw moments. I can't think of any off the top of my head during that entire time. But Hogan was here. Roman Reigns and the Bloodline did the Tribal Court, which was one of the best segments they have ever produced. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. So we got the Philly crowd trying to hijack the show, chanting ECW. Paul Heyman then took that and said that ECW is dead and he wishes the same for Sami Zayn. Then Paul Heyman goes into this absolute ball-busting, vociferously evil rant about how Sami Zayn is a traitor. He's been in cahoots with Kevin Owens since the beginning. It is absolutely nasty work on behalf of Paul Heyman. He produces evidence, 4 pieces of footage to prove that Sami Zayn is guilty. 1, when Drew McIntyre jumped the Uso, Sami Zayn fled. The second was when Sami Zayn hesitated to use the chair against Kevin Owens in the match with Jey Uso, which caused Jey Uso to lose. The third is Sami Zayn on top of the cage. He felt like that was being selfish. He was trying to get all the attention on himself. And 4 is when he bumped into Roman Reigns during a promo, which he calls assault on the tribal chief. It was assault on the tribal chief. At this whole time, I'm trying to pay attention to everybody else, and Jey Uso is absolutely disgusted. He is absolutely disgusted by what he's hearing and seeing going on here. So, Sami Zayn is given an opportunity to do his defense, and he's basically says he has no defense. Only thing he can say is, after all of this time, has been 8 or 9 months of him doing this, and it hurts to see that these guys continue to not trust him. The idea that he was on trial, this hurts. And he says people see it, the people who are the jury in this situation, they see that he has love and respect and loyalty to the family. And so his defense is that he has no defense. So Roman is upset that Sami dare not defend himself. He's like, I offered you opportunity after opportunity to be a member of my family, and you don't even want to fight for this? This means nothing to you? I'm telling you, these girlfriend tendencies of Roman Reigns is literally something else. Jesus Christ. So he orders Solo to do the dirty work, and Sami Zayn just kind of sits there and is going to allow the spike to happen. And as it's about to occur, Jey Uso jumps out of his chair and grabs Solo by the arm. And from there, Jey Uso decided to launch into a full-throated defense of Sami Zayn. He shows 5 pieces of footage. 1, Sami Zayn helping them win the tag team championships from RK-Bro. 2, when Sami Zayn took that Claymore on behalf of Roman around the time of Clash at the Castle. 3, when Sami Zayn took a chair shot for Solo. 4, when Sami Zayn helped defeat the Brawling Brutes in a tag team championship match. And 5 was the War Games match, which featured Sami Zayn saving Roman in the match, hitting Kevin Owens in the nuts, and hitting his finisher, the haluva kick, on Kevin Owens. Jay said that it's out there for the world to see. Everybody's been looking at this, and he has had his problems with Sami Zayn. He hated Sami Zayn. He didn't trust him. But Sami Zayn took bullets for them. Sami Zayn is his dog. And that he never gave up on, he never gave up on Jay. And that's something that family does. And that he loves Sami Zayn like a brother. And it was so emotional. It was incredibly emotional. So Jay, in his defense, has the crowd put the ones up to support Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. The crowd does, so Roman, he has to bite the bullet. He's still mad at Sami Zayn, but he bites the bullet, says that he finds Sami Zayn not guilty. For now, he says that he wants Sami Zayn to thank Jay for buying him a little bit more time. But tonight he's got to make the bloodline proud. After which, he doesn't want to see Sami Zayn anymore. He doesn't want to see him until Saturday. He wants Sami Zayn to help the bloodline, but then to disappear. Which is going to be because Saturday is going to be his final test. After Roman makes his decision, the best scene, and I hate that the camera cut away from it because it was so beautiful, is when Jay gave Sami his lie. The little rosaries or whatever they wear around their neck. Jay took his off and put it on Sami. It was tremendous. I wish we could have let that scene sit without the goddamn camera cut away from it. God, I'm telling you, man, they really stepped on that moment. They need to re-edit this show to make sure that scene gets in there, because Roman wasn't doing anything important. He was walking down the stairs. Roman's reaction. We already got Roman's reaction. Roman's reaction when he was in the ring. Why did we cut this part out? This is the part we needed. We do get to see Sami Zayn wearing the lie and hugging Jey Uso though. So it was all very good. The crowd was fully invested. It was an excellent segment. The only I did have some problems with this segment though. For starters, it coming on first. I know they wanted to do something because Raw was commercial free for the first hour. So they wanted to put on the longest segment of the night during the commercial free part. All right, but you missed an opportunity here. I feel like there's a huge missed opportunity. It goes back into, I was going to do a video about a particular issue that WWE has developed over a long time ago, but I decided not to put it out. I'm just going to talk about it here. Raw has what a guy named Rick Scaya came up with. He calls it a stickiness problem. It's a problem of pacing the show. It's a problem of going to commercial, when to go to commercial, how long to go away from commercial. Basically putting things on the show that would get people interested into watching the show. It's an audience retention thing. This came up in 2002 when he was talking about Raw. I think it was actually the Raw where the Katie Vick angle occurred. And he was talking about, a way for Raw to increase their ratings, even though they were doing 3.8 or whatever at the time, was to do better on the stickiness. Go to a commercial on cliffhangers, or ask better questions as you go into the show, that sort of thing. And I was, going to do a video basically saying that this is a perfect vehicle for something like that, where you could have had throughout the entire night Sami Zayn, either running into legends or doing something else in which he's nervous and he gets upset or whatever the case may be going into this. And people would have been like, okay, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to believe. Is the bloodline going to kill him or whatever the case may be? But you could have teased it all night and would have got people into it. And I think that if you put this on last, it would have been a very, very strong closing segment. Yes, putting it on first was also a very strong segment, but milking it throughout the night, I think, probably would have been a better deal. I know things were changed because the elders, Alpha, Sika, Samu, and Rikishi, they weren't going to make it. So they obviously that's the reason why they changed the show. There's a lot of talk about, The Rock not doing WrestleMania. Therefore, that's why they changed it. It came out later that the elders weren't going to be able to do it anyway. So it wasn't going to be the same segment, regardless whether The Rock was going to be there or not. It wasn't going to be the same segment because Rikishi and the Head Shrinkers and Wild Samoans weren't going to be there. So it ended up being changed a lot. But I think this is an absolutely fantastic segment. I just questioned the placement of it on the show and not using it to milk audience attention throughout the show. It's a recurring theme on WWE TV that they do not build to their main events. I do not understand it. Like, it's a thing that AEW has a really bad. AEW is the worst when it comes to it. There are, next to Impact, AEW is the worst when it comes to building their main events. MLW currently, I think, does a better job building up main events that are going to occur on that show than most other wrestling promotions today. WWE, no, they don't do a good job at all. Unless it involves Roman Reigns, you don't really do a good job of getting involved with some things that are going to cause audience retention. And I'm talking about watching things live on television, not watching clips on YouTube, not, I saw the clip on Twitter. I mean, something occurs, then they go to commercial, but you sit through the commercial and then come back. It is terrible. In some instances, people will say, well, there's nothing you can do. There's no spot you can do. There's nothing you can do that will make me sit through a commercial. And today, which is, 21 years away from, when Rick Scala was talking about the stickiness problem, I agree. A lot of people are ducking and dodging commercials. But it's still something that you could at least attempt. And I think that creating cliffhangers and asking better questions could definitely help. If people was walking into this, like, what is it going to be? Who's going to even be involved with this? Who's going to be the judge? Who's going to be the jury? I love the surprise of Jay being the defense attorney. And maybe we could have built that up throughout the night. Who's going to defend Sammy? Paul obviously wants to be the prosecutor. But, who wants to defend Sammy? And basically everybody's kind of like, well, Sammy's got to defend himself. That's just kind of how it is. And then he has to sort of, twiddle his thumbs and go around talking to various people about how he could defend himself before landing on the idea of not defending himself. I just think that could have been done a lot better and probably would have drawn a little bit more. But they also just kind of surrendered the idea that the third hour sucks. So, whatever. Fine. We move straight from this to the Raw Tag Team Championships, the Usos versus the Judgment Day. So the storyline of the Bloodline continues in this match. Finn Balor was caught cheating. He was ejected. Some odd reason, Rhea Ripley jumped in the ring several minutes later and was not ejected. Explain that to me. The storyline of this match, of course, is that Jimmy Uso was injured during the match and couldn't continue. The referee was going to say that the Usos have to lose the championships by forfeit. Adam Pearce came on the scene. Sami Zayn volunteered to take the place of Jimmy. Adam Pearce allowed it because he had allowed a substitution for Judgment Day in the gauntlet match. So he figured, okay, I'll just allow the Usos to substitute. So Sami Zayn takes Jimmy Uso's spot. So now, Sami and Jay are tag team partners. And I wonder, is this like the Freebird rule? Like, is this the Freebird rule now that Sami Zayn is now a tag team champion with the Usos? Because his name is Uso now. Sami Uso. No, I know that's a stretch. It's not. It's not real. Anyway, the Usos win with the one and done. Jay and Sammy, they win. Roman, Heyman, and Solo were still watching, and Roman was still just boiling for apparently no reason at this point. And he didn't even attempt to get any kind of retaliation on Kevin Owens throughout the night either, which I also thought was weird. Whatever. Anyway, it's a reunion show, I guess. Anyway, Roman still doesn't want to see Sami Zayn until Saturday, which means that Sami Zayn will probably pop up on SmackDown where he's not wanted. But it's hard to argue against the glory that is the Bloodline storyline. It has been the gift that keeps on giving. It's been tremendous. It's been really good. Masterful character work from everybody involved. Everybody played their role. The only person I think was missing was Jimmy. You know, he really didn't have a role here. You know, Jimmy has always sort of been a Sami Zayn booster. And maybe after Jay jumped in, Jimmy would have just been like, yeah, you know, Sammy always been my dog, you know, and just to add something. But he didn't add much to this scene at all. Solo remains sort of neutral. You know, he's the killer. It is what it is. Roman is continuously gaslighting and, you know, being manipulative, and so is Paul Heyman. So I'm really interested in this, you know, and where we're going with this. But you can tell that Sami Zayn is starting to get frustrated. And that's something that I really didn't expect. That, you know, for them to add into this story is that Sami Zayn is now getting visibly upset with Roman Reigns and the bloodline. He's tired of being questioned, and you know, he's kind of tired of being pushed around. It seems like, you know, the frustration is starting to come to the surface. So, you know, he's no longer the sort of naive purse puppy of the bloodline. Now he's kind of becoming his own man. He's kind of like, yo, I got to go through all this. I'm still going through this. You know, like he's trying to be respectful with it, but he's still kind of like, well, I'm not still doing this. Okay, let's move on. So JBL and the Godfather, they just threw a lot of legends in a casino type of situation. They played up the APA with the doors with no walls, but it's a casino back there. So all the people who usually populate Monday Night Raw with their awfulness, like the, you know, goddamn Alpha Academy and Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae and who else was there's some other bums. They were all in this scene where basically JBL had to bribe the Godfather to get into the casino. He had to get Baron Corbin into the casino because nobody knew who he was. All right. Baron Corbin ended up winning money in the end. He won a ton of money from Ted DiBiase, which I was surprised to see him there. They brought out all the problematic old guys tonight, boy. DiBiase, Flair, Hogan. I'm very surprised we didn't see Vince. I'm super surprised Vince didn't show up. Wow. We'll talk about more about that later. But the end of this whole casino thing was Baron Corbin winning a ton of money and then it getting taken in taxes by IRS, which you know, he was smiling throughout the entire time, which added an element of silliness to it, but it also added an element of, you know, screw Baron Corbin. So that was great. I was never a big fan of the IRS character. In fact, I hated IRS. But I know it's got to be a cool moment because IRS is on the same show with his son. That's very nice, isn't it? It wasn't too much about these casino poker game things. You got to see Medusa. She was there with the women's title. I think she actually bet the belt at one point. You know, I think she might have. There's just a bunch of other people there. They didn't lean too heavily in. They just, again, like I said before, they take one segment and they just dump all the legends in that one segment. So you had Godfather, who is mad at The Rock, which is great. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but he is now very, very angry at The Rock because of his depiction on Young Rock. So Young Rock, as terrible as it is one of the most god-awful shows ever produced. It is so bad. It's so bad that The Godfather was, I don't know, I don't think he's like legitimately angry, but he did, get on the microphone and say fuck The Rock. It wasn't on Raw, but it was like I don't know, it was some kind of interview he did where he felt the guy who played him on Young Rock was too small because he's 6'7", and the guy that he said CeeLo Green was playing. He said the guy who played him was like CeeLo Green. Holy shit! Now, if Godfather has any right to be mad, for starters, everybody should be mad at the casting of their depiction on Young Rock. It is absolute graffiti. It's trash. But then I heard, and my brother told me about this because he actually watches stupid ass Young Rock. He told me that during the Attitude Era, they created another guy named Chad Frost. And I was like, who the fuck was that? So, of course, I look it up online. Like, okay, who the fuck is Chad Frost supposed to be? That doesn't make sense. And it turns out that it was supposed to be Shawn Michaels. That they actually took Shawn Michaels out of the show and replaced him with Chad Frost. And apparently this happened because The Rock is no fan of Shawn Michaels. How childish, how utterly immature that he's not even going to use his name. He's like, no, we're not going to use his name. He's going to call him Chad Frost. Chad Frost. What in the... So I had to see that. I had to see it. I was like, Chad Frost, come on, man. Ain't no way The Rock did that. So I put it in the Google machine, the Twitter machine. Sure enough, it's Chad Frost doing Shawn Michaels things. It's so dumb. It's so bad. So Godfather is upset about, as he says, some kind of midget playing him on this show. How do you think Shawn didn't even get that? He only get midget. He got Voldemorted. He got Benoit. The Rock hated him so much he didn't even use his name. In fact, he made the guy black with dreadlocks. What the hell? I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, Young Rock is an abomination. This show should be bombed. Okay, this show should be put in a time capsule and shot into the fucking sun. This show is awful. This show is so bad. God, it's like cosmically bad. Oh my God. Ooh. They need to send this show into the... Why would you... Imagine, you're an alien or whatever. You're sitting on Mars or Pluto or whatever the hell. And you're getting these radio waves. You dig me? Now, you're probably still picking up, Three's Company or whatever from like 1984. But eventually, Young Rock is going to make it all the way out to space. And you're going to be like, man, humans, not too bad on the TV tip. And then all of a sudden, Young Rock just comes beaming across space. I expect to be invaded by like Vulcans or something for creating this show and putting it out into the universe. I expect that somebody's like, okay, they need to be stopped now. Somebody's got to go down there and talk, if we're still here, because, climate change and everything, right? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. This shit is climate change. This is an apocalyptic event. This is awful. This is awful television. It's bad TV. And every time I even see a pinch, a smidgen, a second of Young Rock, I am befuddled. I am confused. I am left behind. I am just kind of like, what is going on? I thought he was the president on that show at one point. I was like, what? Why is he the president? Is he running for president? Is this supposed to be like him? Like, I thought it was an autobiography. It's not that either. They're jumping back and forth between timelines where in one episode, he's young, Dwayne, who is essentially that stupid kid from Big Bang Theory, Young Sheldon, he's essentially that in some episodes. The other, he's kind of a wrestler who don't know his thumbs from his pinkies. I don't understand what's going on. This show is just all around dumb as hell. Brian Gerwitz should be ashamed of himself. NBC should be ashamed of themselves. Dwayne Johnson, his birth name, should be ashamed of himself. All of this, absolutely terrible. Did you see they got a giant Mexican who looks like Machete to play the Undertaker on Young Rock? It is the craziest, most asinine thing I have ever seen. This giant with acromegaly, who clearly is named like Jose Martinez or something like that. Jose Martinez Rodriguez. Clearly this guy's no goddamn Mark Calloway. Come on, what is going on here? I died, bro. Just watching like 30 seconds of that show makes you want to drink bleach. Young Rock is awful, bro. I feel bad for anybody who, like, you thought that Black Adam was a bomb. Look, Black Adam was goddamn Godfather compared to Young Rock. You know, I thought, I don't watch like TV anyway, but that shit makes me not even want to own a TV. I don't even want to own eyeballs if I had to watch Young Rock. The only way I would watch Young Rock is if you set me up like Clockwork Orange. That's the only way that you'll get me to watch Young Rock. And at that point, man, instead of putting, just spray my eyes with like bear mace or something like that, please put me out of my misery. If I was ever like a kingpin selling cocaine, you don't have to play like NSYNC outside of my doors. Just put out LED boards with Young Rock on it, and I just come out and surrender. Screw it. You want me arrested more than I want to deal with Young Rock. All right. So clearly I reached my threshold. That show sucks. It sucks. And if you watching the Young Rock, you should be ashamed of yourself. You need to look in the mirror and ask yourself why you hate yourself. And then stop torturing yourself. If you need to take pills or something like that, please do so. If you need to call a suicide hotline, please do so. Stop watching Young Rock. All right? Stop it. Cut it out. I completely lost my train of thought because I got on the soapbox with the Young Rock. Look, all the legends were in the casino thing, so they advertised like the Bella twins. They didn't show up because I didn't see them unless they were in this thing. And, that was about it. They just put a bunch of legends in one segment, which I thought they would do. And that was that. Okay, let's move on. So LA Knight got in the middle of the ring, called Bray Wyatt an incel that plays with puppets, which is great. And he says that he's supposed to fear that. He said he doesn't fear that. He says LA Knight, if he was more man, there'd be two of them in the ring. Then he says that the legends, that Bray Wyatt, all are living on past glory. And he said that he wanted to call out any legend who wanted to see what's up. So the gong happens and everybody's like, oh boy. Even me. I got the arm, the hair on your arm still stand up when that bell strikes, right? When the gong hits. And everybody is super excited. The fire starts shooting up. Everybody's like, yeah. And then the music changes. And they're like, It's like a collective Metal Gear Solid with the shit over the head, like, huh? What's that? Who's there? And, eventually it gets to the American Badass theme. And the pop is still there, but it's lowered. It's not the pop he would have gotten if he came out in full regalia. It's like everybody, it was supposed to be a surprise that, he's the American Badass and everything. He came out in a little motorcycle. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Ain't nothing like the dead man coming out there, though. And that kind of led to a bit of a debate online about some people who prefer the American Badass. I don't know what's wrong with those people. It was okay, but the oldie is a goodie. I'm sorry. American Badass is cool and everything, but I think I agree with Philly. That when that gong hit, we was all the way up. We was at a 10. When they started doing anything else, it came down to about an 8. And then when his regular music, his regular sort of American Badass music started to play, we got at about an 8.5. It was still, yay, it's cool to see him there, but it's like, oh man, ain't the dead man, Anyway, LA Knight comes out there. He's still talking that yin yang. And he said that he heard Undertaker call the locker room soft, and he actually agrees and said that Bray Wyatt is number 1 soft. But if you think that LA Knight soft, you're not soft at all. Then he says that before we do this, he thought about it. Then he said that, you know what? I'm going to give you a pass. I want you to enjoy your retirement. I want you to be able to watch your kids grow up. So I'm going to give you a pass. I'm just going to go this way. I'm going to leave. All right. I'll cut you a break. So LA Knight's going to go back up the ramp. Lights go out again. Bray Wyatt with the lamp. So now LA Knight is between Bray Wyatt and the Undertaker. And he's in the dark, going back and forth. And for some reason, he chose Undertaker. So he gets in the ring. Undertaker grabs him by the throat. He's, teasing that he's going to choke slam him. Instead, Undertaker throws LA Knight to Bray Wyatt, who hits him with the Sister Abigail. He got a huge pop. Undertaker and Bray Wyatt have a short stare down. Undertaker whispers something to Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt is kind of catatonic at that point. And of course, it became a meme. The big meme of what did Undertaker say to Bray Wyatt? Great storytelling right here. Because now you want Undertaker to come back, right? You want him to come back because he's a legend. You love seeing him. The crowd loves seeing him. But now you want him to come back for a real reason. You want him to come back to know what he said to Bray Wyatt. Sure, Bray Wyatt could tell us. It's not the same impact, though. I like this interaction because Undertaker and Bray Wyatt have history. I know that, some people who are a little bit more nerdy, they know that Percy Pringle, who played Paul Bearer, he was also the manager for LA Knight when, I forget what his name was. I think he was in Championship Wrestling from somewhere, Florida, Memphis, something like that. Anyway, they have that connection. So LA Knight being involved with Undertaker is not that, not that out of the ordinary. But I thought this was a very strong segment too. Undertaker not doing anything to LA Knight, but letting Bray Wyatt handle it. I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, so we get the cage match, quote unquote. Becky Lynch is jumped by Damage Control outside the ring. She is then beat mercilessly in the cage. Adam Pearce has to get the jaws of life in order to get in there and separate Damage Control, who is beating the tar out of Becky Lynch. So you completely negated the idea of a cage match by these chicks just still getting involved. That's the first thing. Second, of all of the matches on this show that you advertised, this is the one you decided to not go through with. Unless one or both of these women were injured, this match should have gone on. And I know that there's a Fightful report that, the tribal court went on too long, and so they had to cut some time somewhere. Look, they had a nothing burger Bianca Belair versus Sonya Deville match. They had a nothing burger 6-man tag after this. They could have cut both of those to give us the damn advertised match that they had set up, which was a cage match. Of all the matches you were going to bump, why are you bumping Becky and Bayley? One of them better be hurt. One of them better be sick. It is the only excuse why you would not do this match. You had plenty of time because the goddamn 6-man tag we're about to go into had plenty of time. I'm talking about the whole setup, the whole thing. It had plenty of time. And let's say you can't find the time. Where are you going to find it? Guess what? Sonya Deville versus Bianca Belair doesn't need to happen at all. We can just get rid of it. Doesn't need to happen at all. So I don't buy this whole, well, one segment earlier in the show went long, so we're going to have other segments on the show later that gets cut. But this is the one woman's match that was built up over weeks and weeks and weeks, and then you don't deliver it. That's bullshit. All right, so they do the DX Kurt Angle thing. This was fun. So DX is out there. They're out there all the time, literally. There's not a reunion show where they don't do DX. You think DX was like an important part of Monday Night Raw, which they were, but come on, man. Kurt Angle wants to be a member of DX. Now, this is fun. They tell Kurt Angle that he has to pass a test. But first, are you ready? And Kurt is like, is that the test? And they're like, oh no, this guy's an idiot. All right, so as they do their shtick, Imperium comes out. Ludwig Kaiser says that they're bringing shame on the sport with their filth and nonsense. Gunther says they're making a mockery and they're going to kick him out of the ring. So then Triple H squares up with Gunther, and we see how pretty big Triple H still is. He's not in the shape that he can, actually physically do anything. Because I would have loved to see Gunther chop Triple H in the chest. It would be an in love and memory graphic in 15 minutes, but I probably would have been worth it, at least on my end. Gunther kind of chuckled at Triple H squaring up to him. Triple H backs off, said he's retired. That guy, everybody, that tickled everybody's funny bone, including my own. Sean stepped up. Everybody's chanting HBK. Sean stepped up, said he looked at Gunther, looked at everybody, and said, "Yeah, I'm too old. I can't do this." So he backs down. That makes everybody laugh. X-Pac is next, and he talked about having a bad case of shin splints, whatever the fuck that is. So he can't do it. And then Road Dogg is like, "Look, I'm just too old and too fat. It's not happening," which of course made everybody laugh. So they just have a DX huddle, which they do. And then they volunteer Kurt Angle to fight Gunther. And Angle's like, no way. I'm not doing that. So they can't find anybody to fight Gunther and Imperium. Randomly, here comes Seth Rollins. Is Seth Rollins a babyface or a heel? Nobody seems to know. Nobody seems to know whether he's a babyface or a heel. It's AEW with Seth Rollins. Anyway, he came out there, but he came by himself. Of course, they had to do it would be nice for somebody to come out here and help him, and it's the Street Profits. So Imperium has to wrestle Seth Rollins and the Street Profits in a match that was not built up at all, and a match that I didn't care anything about, but seemed to be on forever. Seth Rollins and the Street Profits defeated Imperium. Anyway, Triple H said that, booking this match wasn't easy, so he needed some help. Here comes Teddy Long, who made the match official. Then they talked about how there needed to be a special guest referee, and then Kurt Angle became a special guest referee, so that was cool. Jerry Lawler is on commentary. That was fun. It was one really cool angle where Kurt Angle got in the face of Gunther, and they were, kind of, Gunther got in Kurt Angle's face and was kind of pointing in his chest, like I thought maybe they're going to do something here. You want to go? You want to go, old man? But no, they didn't do anything. It was a pretty cool spot that took place in the ring where I think it was a Falcon Arrow into an elevated blockbuster. That was a great spot. That spot was awesome. And look, I like the Street Profits. I like Seth Rollins. I like Imperium. But I didn't care about this at all. Didn't care about this one lick. Didn't care about this at all. They did a commercial for a Rey Mysterio Lucha TV show that's going to feature girls. Yay. Moving on. Lashley says that he wanted the main event match to be no disqualification because he blames Brock Lesnar for not being champion in the first place. And he He doesn't want any excuses for Austin Theory once he, beats him up and takes his title and all that stuff. That being said, the match is confirmed, no disqualification. And Bobby Lashley has his match with Austin Theory. This match frustrated me to no end because I didn't care. Everybody knows, if you listen to this channel, I'm a big fan of Bobby Lashley. I like Bobby Lashley. Unfortunately, they refuse to promote Bobby Lashley like he's a star. Instead, they do stuff like this. It ain't that Bobby Lashley lost. It's not even that. It's that you put him in the main event of the show, but you don't see his face. You don't see his name. You don't get to show Lashley pulling up in a limo or anything like that. Not throughout. You don't see him or Theory until I think they show one promo for Lashley, which I just talked about. Out of the whole 3-hour show, you built up. You want this to be the main event, but it feels like some shit you just tacked on at the end of the show. And then there's no disqualifications too, so whatever. Anyway, match was what it was. Brock Lesnar interrupted it, attacked Bobby Lashley with the F5. Then he actually F5s Austin Theory on top of Lashley, which leads to Austin Theory winning. It went off the air immediately. Like right after the 3 count, like ding, 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 it went off the air. So we didn't get to see Brock celebrate. We didn't get to see Brock attack anybody else or Bobby Lashley respond or Austin Theory celebrate. Nothing. It cut off immediately. USA Network was like, nah, we said 11. It's 11. That's it. Call it a day. Barmageddon needs to be on the air now. Okay. I'm big on Lashley going back to Russell Lesnar. I like that. That's great. I'm okay with him losing to Austin Theory. That's fine. Austin Theory needs to win. He probably needed a statement win, but he'll get that at some point, I'm sure. But I didn't like that they just didn't build this up. Again, it's something important. Why are you not building up things that are important? At least go back to what you did before, where maybe you don't really want to promote the guys. Promote the championship then. What happened to the old, the United States Championship? For the last 74 years, it's been a symbol of excellence in the business of professional wrestling, held by such legends as Harley Race, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and the Natural Dustin Rhodes. It's like, okay, great. At least you could have made it that interesting. But no, they didn't even do that. So it was kind of like, oh, this the main event. Okay. You think I can beat traffic and get the hell out of here? Literally there's something else for me to do. I need to go wash dishes or something. You make things feel like an afterthought. People treat it like an afterthought. I don't know what else to tell you. But Lashley losing, okay. MVP wanted to celebrate if Lashley won because he was pretty sure Lashley was going to win. But Lashley says he wants to handle his own business. He doesn't need MVP or Omos. So it looks like we're going to rebuild the Hurt Business to take out Brock Lesnar. And you know what? I'm game. Whose game is it? That's game. I like that. Everybody, because Shelton Benjamin, friends with Brock Lesnar. That could be fun. And that could be the sort of opening to get in there. Who knows Brock better than Shelton Benjamin? And maybe that's the foot in the door, the camel's nose in the tent that we need in order to get the Hurt Business back. Not MVP and his shenanigans. Even though he'll probably still have shenanigans in order to get the match with Brock to happen. But, maybe Shelton Benjamin comes over and says, hey, man, maybe you should talk to me about this whole Brock Lesnar thing. And then, Lashley, I don't need you. I don't need your help. Like, nobody knows Brock better than me. And maybe they start hanging out, talking, chit-chatting, him getting the inside dirt on Brock and what he knows about Brock. And, of course, Shelton kind of comes along. Not Shelton, but Cedric. Then, of course, MVP is there. And next thing you know, they're together again. I can't wait. Hurt Business versus Brock Lesnar could be super fun. I know that MVP has been on Twitter acting a fool. That part is true too, because people keep putting random black folks in the Hurt Business and wanting them to be in the Hurt Business, and he has not been a fan. He is not a fan of you throwing Bianca Belair and the Street Profits and fucking R-Truth in the Hurt Business. He is not happy about that. So if you really want to piss off MVP on Twitter, just start throwing like Idris Enofe in the Hurt Business for no reason. He's going to tweet about it. He tweeted about it all weekend. He was just like, just on full tilt about random black dudes being thrown in the Hurt Business. It just bothered him so much, and it was so funny. People were making graphics and everything. It was hilarious. I don't understand why that was his hill to die on. Like, he did explain why the Hurt Business worked, because, you know, him and Lashley are friends. He's also friends with Shelton Benjamin. They're friends outside the ring. Shelton and Cedric are really friends, so that's why the Hurt Business actually worked. Everybody in the group are actually friends. They know each other and they spend time with each other outside the ring. But everybody's just looking at him just kind of like, all of these people are black, therefore just dump all of the black people in there. He had a problem with it before when he, you know, I think it was Xavier Woods who had a problem with it when he said the New Day is supposed to be like the new nation of domination or whatever. And people think that's when you have a black stable, that's all it can be, is a nation of domination. But, you know, people trolling MVP by throwing like random black people like Malik Blade in the Hurt Business is hilarious. You know, I find it to be quite entertaining watching him have meltdowns about this, because there really is no reason for it. I mean, there's literally no reason for you to be that upset about it. All right, so Ric Flair, he came out there, said that the people, the WWE Universe, keeps him styling and profiling. Said diamonds are forever, and so is Monday Night Raw. And that WWE has given him a lot, but it's most important, it has given him an opportunity to see his daughter exceed all of his goals. And then he introduced her as the greatest women's champion of all time. Charlotte then says that Monday Night Raw is where she revolutionized women's wrestling, and it will always be her home. Of course, she's leaving out a lot of other people when she says that, but hey, I'm sure Sasha Banks is kind of like, hey, what do you mean you? What do you mean? What about me? What didn't I do something? Like, no, you did nothing. But of course, Charlotte did give credit to Asuka, Rhea Ripley, and some of her other opponents for helping her make magic. But it's almost kind of like she won an award or something, like she won a Golden Globe. Like, yeah, I won, but I have to thank the lighting team and the writers. They're like, God damn, that's not what's happening here, you know? Like, you didn't just win a Tony and you get to come out here and talk about yourself. If this should have been about, you know, the women's division or whatever, maybe we should have just had that cage match earlier. I don't know. Anyway, Bianca Belair came out there because Charlotte shouldn't be there. And so they wanted to remind everybody that Bianca is the champion on Raw. She says that she is going to continue making Raw the best show on TV or something to that respect or whatever. Anyway, Sonya Deville interrupted and said she used to run Monday Night Raw. She wants some respect. And that it's a shame that Charlotte flew her daddy all the way to Philadelphia just to give her an introduction. And she started asking important questions like, you know, why aren't we, you know, looking at people who put in the work and doesn't get the recognition? And which is a good question, but she was talking about herself mostly. And Charlotte said, well, look, you want to fight the champion? Fight the champion. The champion is Bianca Belair. Fight her. Bianca Belair was like, okay, sure, I'll handle this if that's what you if that's what you want, I guess. And I was stupefied that we actually had Bianca Belair versus Sonya Deville on this show. So she won, of course. Bianca Belair wins. Sonya Deville once again looks like an absolute goof. I'm guessing she's not going to be the opponent for the Royal Rumble. I thought maybe she would be, but it's clear now that she's not going to be because she got beat pretty convincingly here. At this point, Bianca gets on the mic again. This time she's breathing heavy into the mic, which is not my favorite promo. She then starts talking about nobody and nothing is going to stop her from retaining. So Alexa Bliss can bring Uncle Howdy. She can bring Bray Wyatt. She can bring whoever she wants. It's not going to help. Alexa pops up on the screen, but after the Bray Wyatt prompt, and she's in the mirror, and she's talking about how she doesn't need any help, tearing the skin off of Bianca's face. But, you know, she's going to save her eyes so that Bianca can watch her win the Raw Women's title. I was like, okay dokie. Sure. We're not going to mention the elephant in the room, which is, you know, the Uncle Howdy thing last week. Apparently we can't mention that. I don't know why we can't mention that, but we can't mention that. All right. I'm interested in this, though. They're not going to put the belt on Alexa. They better not. But what's the next chapter for Alexa Bliss? Because she was on the same show with Bray Wyatt. They had no interaction. That's the kind of, you know, when you do a reunion show and all these people are on the show and their characters are intertwined in some way, why wouldn't you do something where at least Bray Wyatt was in the mirror, you know, or Uncle Howdy was in the mirror, or maybe, you know, standing behind her or something, you know, it's just, or maybe, you know, Alexa confronts Bray Wyatt and says, you know, you and Howdy need to leave me alone. Stop bothering me. And she actually says that in this promo. Like, I wish people would just leave me alone. You know, like, it would have been a nice little spot after Undertaker leaves and everything for Alexa to come out there and say, leave me alone. Or later in the show, leave me alone. Stop bothering me with your spooky doing whatever. And then Bray Wyatt could be like, it ain't me, man. That Uncle Howdy, he's doing his own thing, man. He's flying off the handle, man. He's doing his own thing, man. I don't know what's going on with that Uncle Howdy. He's a weird guy, man. And, you know, now she has to deal with that, you know, this is something that's going on beyond Bray Wyatt, which would be very interesting, but they didn't go that route. Instead, they had her talk in the mirror. Okay, cool, whatever. The Miz. This is the last segment I got to talk about. The Miz is furious that he is not the focus of Raw 30. That no, he didn't get a Miz TV segment. Despite all of his great Raw moments, despite all the things that he's done, you know, he doesn't get a Raw 30 moment. And then he's just attacked by Kevin Owens and stunnered. And then, you know, it happened to him twice because after Kevin Owens cut his promo, he got stunnered again. Okay. Kevin Owens says that he's glad that Sami Zayn was found not guilty, but Roman Reigns is guilty. He's guilty of holding the title hostage for 2 years. And he gave his promise to everybody that he's going to do everything he can to change that he's going to take that title or die trying. And I definitely think he needs a stronger promo and a more lengthy promo than this. It wasn't the hard sell, even though it probably should have been. And I think that a promo in which Kevin Owens was allowed to sit and explain why the championship means so much to him, why Sami Zayn means so much to him, and why he's constantly a thorn in the side of Roman Reigns, and what this match means to him. Could have sold some more tickets. I know the show's already sold out, but you're trying to get more eyeballs on the show. And I think that Kevin Owens didn't really sell the show as strongly as he could have. And I think that's probably due to the time crunch, because The Miz didn't get an entrance either. He just was yelling into the microphone, and he was pretty red-faced by the time this whole thing was over. But his wife is super hot. Jesus Christ. Maurice just turned 40, and you wouldn't even be able to tell. And that girl aged like the alphabet. Let me tell you. You know, she's doing better than wine. She putting weight. That girl aging like gold. All right. In some ways, she looked better at 40 than she did when she was younger. You know, which is crazy, but it's somehow true. Maurice is like dumb hot. And she's hot on a different level. I mean, that's banana. That shit is straight up banana. I don't get it. Anyway, that was Raw 30. There was no Bella Twins, no Vince. Now, Vince McMahon did not appear at all on this show. I would have liked at least a pre-taped Vince promo where he could have talked about the importance of Monday Night Raw to him, to the WWE Universe, and maybe Vince should have closed the show. Like, they had already brought out all of the most problematic guys. Hogan was out there early, his mic all cutting off and everything, which is, cosmic karma for him talking that ish about my brothers and sisters. But they had Jimmy Hart out there with him too, which I thought was interesting. But Hogan, Flair, they missed an opportunity to DiBiase because of the welfare scam. So I know a lot of people was kind of like DiBiase, but why not Vince? Either Vince should have opened the show or closed it. I definitely think that as we were going off the air, a short, maybe minute or two, 90-second Vince promo thanking everybody for watching the 30th anniversary of Monday Night Raw, talking about how much he appreciates the universe and yada, 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 wouldn't have taken away from the show. Maybe in the middle of the show, it might have distracted everybody. At the beginning, it might have distracted everybody. But if you put it on a pre-recorded or even a live, from his office or whatever, it would have been nice. To not have Vince at all, though, is a bummer. Top 5 stars of Monday Night Raw is Vince McMahon. He's one of the top 5. Not just the creator, but also as a on-screen persona. Mr. McMahon is an integral part of Monday Night Raw. Now, I didn't do a news and notes segment because I didn't figure it was necessary. But there's, this rumor floating about that WWE wants Stone Cold Steve Austin to wrestle Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And I say, this is based on what? The Rock inability to do it? Well, I didn't hang my hat on The Rock doing it anyway. I thought The Rock would do it, considering it was in Hollywood and he's known that for a long time. Due to, the Roman Reigns kind of needing it, I thought it would be interesting to have Rock versus Roman. But I never really thought that was going to occur. I always knew it was going to be Cody and Roman because that's the story they've been telling since Cody's debut. Well, his re-debut, of course. So I'm not surprised or disappointed at all that The Rock is not going to wrestle. But getting people's hopes up talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin, it's like, come on, man. Look, I'm not buying it. I'm really not. I don't think it's necessary. Roman does not need to have a match with Stone Cold Steve Austin. He doesn't need that. And then what happens? He loses to Stone Cold. Stone Cold's 60. What the fuck? You're already pushing it with The Rock, who's like in his early 50s, late 40s. Stone Cold's like 60, man. Like, come on, stop. No, it's not good. It wouldn't be good for Steve Austin to lose. It certainly wouldn't be good for Steve Austin to fucking win. Just go ahead and have the Cody match. Make Cody, call it a day. Anything else you want to do, you got Saudi shows to do it. You got Clash of the Castle shows to do it. You got WrestleMania next year. It'll be okay. Roman could do the job for Cody and wrestle The Rock next year, I guess. Whatever. Who cares, really? Look, clearly Cody's winning the Royal Rumble, so I don't know. Everybody's going to be difficult from there. But the women, there isn't a breakout star yet for the women. So the women's joint is a little bit more up in the air. So I expect probably the women's Royal Rumble to main event the show. Maybe. All right. John Cena was the cover star for WWE 2K3, and I know a lot of people are upset about that. I say, too bad. Yes, your favorite superstar, probably your favorite modern superstar. Everybody would have loved to see Mustafa Ali on the cover of the goddamn game or something like that, but that's not how this thing works. They're trying to actually move units, They're trying to sell these things. So they put John Cena on the cover. Okay. I don't know if the last one with didn't they do one with Roman and Becky on the cover? They had to share a cover. I don't know how that one sold. But putting John Cena on the cover is guaranteed, can't miss. So I ain't mad at that. So Raw 30, I said that Triple H needed to hit it out of the park. I think he did a good job in the first hour and some change with the bloodline stuff. But then it became a normal episode of Monday Night Raw. So I think he kind of whiffed this one. The skits were pretty good, though. I will say that. Some of the skits were pretty good. You know, it's good and nice watching the OGs again. But I always wanted to see, like, different people. Like, I wanted to see, like, Val Venus and Vader and, you know, people who are still alive, but they haven't been doing anything in a long time. The Steiner brothers or something like that. That could have been fun. But they decided to go with the old faithfuls, the same people they go with every time. And that kind of diminishes my enjoyment of the show, too. But what say you? Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
MagMongoSlade. Best house I ever drew, Daddy.